legacy. Yeah, I want a legacy. Build me a legacy. I want a legacy. Yeah, build me a legacy. Cause I want a legacy. Yeah. I've been on my job. I've been on my grind. I put in the work. Time for me to
Welcome to the Legacy Keys. My co-host, Keisha Tisdale, was not able to make it today. However, I have a co-host who is just as amazing. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Darius Jones, son of Sarah Jones. Some things I like to do is play sports, video games, and currently I am on my way to high school.
Amazing. Thank you. And Darius, thank you for joining me today. So we talked about how we are going to be tackling the topic of what your kids don't learn in school. And so I thought it would be great to have my son here because he can attest to some of these things that he has learned or hasn't learned. And I think he'll be a valuable asset to our conversation today. So today, one of the things we talked about that kids don't learn in school is entrepreneurial skills. We talked about how we were going to discuss mindset and finances and health and wellness. But today we're talking about entrepreneurial skills and how those skills and your child being an entrepreneur or exploring entrepreneurship will allow your kid to be more successful because of those skills that you learn. And one of the things I would like to stress is I am not a fan of forcing kids to be entrepreneurs. No, not at all. Every child will have their very own career path, and that's okay. But the skills that you learn as an entrepreneur across the board will help, whether you want to be a lawyer, a doctor, whether you want to be the manager of I don't know, Fortune 500 company. These skills are imperative and they will work across the board. I have prepared a PowerPoint for us so that we can go through some of these points. And Darius, I'm looking forward to you just chiming in and just giving your input because, you know, you're a student. And what you learned in school or haven't learned in school, you can share with us, okay? Are there some things that you like to share up front, just off the top of your head? Some things you think you haven't learned in school? Some skills that you have.
Life skills, like we don't learn about life and how you can prepare yourself for life with money and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, all that stuff. Huh? So let's talk about it. Let's talk about why we need to teach kids entrepreneurship. Reiterating that entrepreneurship will allow your child to strengthen some of the skills that they haven't learned in school. But why do we want to teach kids entrepreneurship? And that's what we're discussing today. So when we're encouraging our children to be entrepreneurs, we are, and especially at an early age, we are really assuring the future generation of businessmen, of the pioneers. They're going to make their mark in this world. They're going to solve those problems that we need solved, real problems. And it starts with an idea. And like I told my son, all entrepreneurs are solving problems in this world. Let's think of some things. What are some things you can think of that exist? A service or a business that if it didn't exist, our life would probably be a little harder or maybe not as convenient. Like one thing I'm thinking of is a light bulb even, right? A light bulb is a convenient, because I'm looking at the light bulb, is a convenient invention. We don't have to walk around with candles and burn our house down trying to light the place up. So things like that make life easier. We don't have to be in the dark. Can you think of anything, Darius, that is maybe an invention or something that's a service, something created that maybe makes our life easier and it solved a major problem?
Probably electronics.
Electronics? What electronics specifically?
Any electronic, like phones, computers, they just make it easier to talk, communicate.
Mm-hmm.
You can do other stuff on it other than just that.
Right.
You can also now order food, order stuff that you.
There's a lot you can do.
Amazon.
Oh, the Amazon is definitely a necessity in life, right? Right. I mean, wants and needs. Amazon, a need for sure. All right. So some of the skills that you learn through entrepreneurship, like I said, across the board, no matter what your child wants to be, these things will help them be effective in those positions. So critical thinking, problem solving, definitely something, like I said, a business starts with an idea and solving a problem. So you got to be able to come up with solutions and think through that problem. Very important skill. Resilience. When you get knocked down, what do? You get back up, right? You just get back up and you know that whatever knocked me down, I can overcome it and definitely do what? What I tell you about being knocked down or mistakes or things that don't happen the way that you want them to happen. What should you do in those situations? You should do what?
Learn from your mistakes.
Learn from them. So being resilient just allows you to learn from those things that, didn't work out so good. You bounce back. Vulnerability. Being an entrepreneur, you got to give of yourself. You got to put yourself out there. That's something that you have to learn to do as an entrepreneur, Darius, and not be embarrassed, not be ashamed. If you have an idea, put it out there. Hypothesizing goes right along with those critical thinking skills and working through problems and coming up with ideas. Commitment, sticking it through. An entrepreneur has to be committed to the goal, to the task. If something's not working, if you're not making the sales, you still have to continue on the same path to reach your goal. Boldness, just being able to say, hey, I'm going to jump out this plane or I'm going to build this parachute on the way down and I'm just going to go ahead and make it happen. Being bold. Leadership is key. Of course, you got to maybe have a team of people you may need to lead, not just as an entrepreneur, but maybe you're working somewhere where you need to lead a group of people. You need to be able to mobilize those people and allow them to reach, use their skills and help them to reach a common goal. So leadership is very important. And selling strategies. How can I get that person to be persuaded to buy that thing or buy that service that I'm providing, or just being able to let them know that, hey, this is something you need. You got to be persuasive and learn the things that will bring that money in your pocket, those strategies. And failure is a good thing. Why do you think, Darius, in your opinion, as a teenager, Darius is 13, why is failure a good thing sometimes?
Failure can be a good thing because it can help you to look back on your past mistakes and pick yourself back up and just see what you did wrong and fix it, whatever it is. It's not that bad. As long as the Lord gives you breath, you can fix it. You definitely can fix it. All right. So the things that we're going to talk about today is four reasons to teach kids entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about how it prepares them for the future job market, teaches them important life skills, helps them learn difficult subject matters, and then they'll gain a better understanding of how to make money. These are the four things that we're going to talk about today. So first, let's talk about how it prepares them for the future job market. So we already know that in the future, there are jobs that have yet to be created. And this is a statistic, Darius, that came from the U.S. Labor Department. 65% of today's school children will eventually be employed by jobs that we have yet to see, that have yet to be invented. So for sure, we need to prepare them for that. We need to prepare them for an uncertain future. So by teaching them these skills that are required across all industries, no matter what you're going to be deciding to go into, Darius, we're just really ensuring your future by doing that. So the more prepared you are, no matter what you decide to do, the more successful you will be, right? So we need to prepare them for that future job market. Let's talk about the important life skills that you'll learn in entrepreneurship. So number one, self-confidence. We already know kids with self-confidence, they're less likely to engage in activities that are not so favorable. I don't want to say dangerous, but things that they really should not be getting into. And we know that it just helps your kids to learn how to make their own decision. So when you're confident, Darius, you kind of get that autonomy to make a decision. And if you make a mistake,
to figure out where it went wrong. And then, like you said earlier, you can fix it, because if you're confident enough to step out there and make your own decisions, then you'll be able to handle some of those tough things that come along in your life. So we definitely want to encourage kids just to be confident in anything that they do. And then there's resilience. So we want them to handle those tough situations. It's going to help them in life. It's going to help them in their career when they start to develop those, again, with the self-confidence to do those things on their own. They'll eventually grow that thicker skin, and they'll be able to think through the problems. And again, when something doesn't work, we continue to think through those problems and just remain tough and remain on task, with those solutions. So definitely resilience is so, so important. And every entrepreneur, Darius, gets knocked down. So Darius knows, again, I'm a serial entrepreneur. Darius knows that you see mommy and the challenges that comes with being an entrepreneur and being knocked down and like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do next? Do I stop?
No.
Do I stop?
No.
No. What do I do?
Keep on working towards it.
Got to keep on working. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. Again, if your child does not want to be an entrepreneur, it doesn't make a difference. You have to know that anything in life is going to bring issues. And there's going to be a dozen times when you get knocked down, and you got to turn those losses into wins. You got to turn them into victories, and you got to learn from it, right? So you got to make a choice when you're resilient not to give up. You got to make a choice not to give up. And it's very important. So how to sell is the very next thing that I think entrepreneurship teaches our kids. So it's not really about teaching them how to be a sleazy car salesman. It's really about crafting the art of negotiation. I guess I can say when you're an entrepreneur, you negotiate and you kind of use those skills of persuasion that I talked about earlier in your conversation with people, and getting them to know the value of your service or the value of your product. There's a way to do it. And that's a very important skill, because you're actually building relationships when you're persuading people and negotiating with people. So when people, as they say in the business world, Darius, when they like you, when they know you, when they trust you, they'll want to do business with you. So learning those negotiations and how to sell, important. Negotiations, working with people, it doesn't matter what you want to do, is an important skill to have. And of course, problem solving. Why? Because we already talked about how it's key. It's essential that you need to analyze a problem, come up with a solution. No matter what it is, you'll sell a lot. You'll sell a lot of products. You'll sell a lot of services, because you are filling somebody's need. You are helping someone solve something. And people buy to make life more convenient, Darius, don't you think? Mm-hmm. People want to be able to have a solution to things that are going on around. There's so much going on around us. We want to be able to go through life and make it easier for ourselves. So when you problem solve, you kind of view a situation from different angles and figure out how you can help a person. And that's what sells. That's what it helps people to throw money at you when you have a service or a product. So again, a key skill is problem solving. So your child needs to be creative. And when you're problem solving, it helps your child to be creative. So if you put your child in a box and solve everything for them and don't let them think for themselves, when are they going to be able to let that creativity out? And as an entrepreneur, you're constantly faced with problems and need to be creative with solving them. So those creative solutions are needed in our future job market, and they are needed in everyday life as well. So we are going to go over creativity, empathy, and goal setting when we come back after this commercial break.
Keys Kings, where we equip male youth with the tools to embark into society with self-respect, confidence, and social skills, enabling them to excel to their highest potential. Our mission is to be a source of inspiration, information, and empowerment for male youth. Stay tuned for more information.
All right, Keys Kings. Definitely look out for more information about Keys Kings. As you know, my co-host Keisha Tisdale is the CEO and the founder of Keys Kings, and she is really looking forward to rolling those things out in order to bless some of those young males in your life. So definitely look out for that. All right, Darius, it's your time to shine. You tell me why creativity is an important life skill.
Creativity can help you with certain things in life, like maybe one of the things I used my creativity for was robotics.
Oh yeah.
Like moving the robots, making them do different things, like maybe dancing, I don't know, something.
Well, you actually had those when you all went to competition and you programmed the robots, you actually had to perform certain tasks on the board, right?
Right.
You got to be creative. You had to do it in a certain amount of time, and there were different pathways to get to that or to complete that certain task. So I had to program it to figure out the best way and the quickest way to get there. That's creative for sure. What do you feel like is one of your, so far we talked about self-confidence, resilience, how to sell, problem solving. Thank you for sharing some of your opinion on creativity. Right now, Darius, what do you think is the thing that you lack the most as a 13-year-old teenager, something that you need more help with?
My self-confidence, because I don't really like talking as much as, like, if you know my brother, he likes to talk a lot.
And he does have a little brother who talks.
And I didn't really, I'm kind of like my dad, more quiet, chill. So
yeah.
And Alex picked up the
talkative self-confidence gene.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Darius, that's something that you can always work on. And you yourself want to be an entrepreneur. I'll have you talk about that a little later, but it just takes practice. The more that you pick yourself up and learn from your problems, the more that you learn the art of selling and negotiating and building relationships with people as an entrepreneur, that self-confidence just naturally builds. And doing things like being my co-host today actually helps build your self-confidence as well. So you, as moms and godmoms and uncles and whoever's watching my show, when you're helping your son or even your daughter build that self-confidence, you got to kind of put them in situations in which they don't feel comfortable. Like this probably isn't the most comfortable situation for someone like my son said, he's kind of laid back. But when you push yourself to do those things, you build those skills and it becomes easier and easier for you to be able to do those things. And naturally, being an entrepreneur, you're going to have to use that skill. So you'll just get better at it. So the next thing we're going to talk about, Darius, is empathy. Empathy is something that internally you try to realize how people feel. You try to kind of put yourself in their shoes so that you will kind of know how a person will maybe act or behave in a certain situation. So, and some people are more naturally good at this skill. And really what it does is just helps people accept you and like you more, which as a person who wants to be in any job market and dealing with people, because we don't work usually alone when we're out in the job market. We have to work with people. And the more that you can understand people, it'll just help them to accept you a little more. And again, that acceptance is all tied together and will help them trust you and know you better and get, and want to work with you or buy from you if you're an entrepreneur. So it's really good to be in tune with your emotions as a human being and also understand how other people feel. It's very important because human behavior is important to understand. So when you're dealing with people, you can understand how people, maneuver and what their motives are. And when you know people's motives, again, and how they operate, again, it helps you to think of how you can help them and solve a problem, which again and again and again, it's a common thing. That's what entrepreneurs do. Goal setting is very important. And again, as a mom, I try to work on all of these skills with my sons. But absolutely, goal setting is like one of the number one things that we love to work on. I love to work on with my sons. What are some of the things, Darius, that we have done with goal setting? Can you remember any other things that mommy does at home to help you?
Some of the things we do with goal setting, we have like a notebook, and we'll write the goals we want to do for like maybe like a week, or like maybe what we want to complete in like a year, and like we'll just write it down, like maybe a couple goals, like 5 to 10, probably like 5, and then
what did we do with the last goal sheet you did? We had the different categories. What did we do? Remember the point system?
Oh yeah, we get, if we, I think it was, I forgot the point, but it was like the more we do on the goal sheet, the more points we could get to get money.
yes, that's true. We did. Because not bribing them to reach goals, but some of the goals were actually chores. Those were some of the goals that they did. But definitely things like that you can do at home. What Darius just described, we had a point system, and you got certain points. If you halfway met your goal, or if you met it, you got more points. And goal setting is just something that you need to implement. You can implement it in a chore system at home. You can implement it in a school grade homework system, however you want to do it. But you got to start as soon as when they start walking and talking. Encourage them to take those steps to make their goals, a reality. So it's very important. And SMART, the reason why I have that up there is because we all know that goals need to be specific. What are we going to work towards? Measurable. How am I going to know if I reached it? Can I achieve it? Am I saying to myself, tomorrow, I want to build a spaceship and go to the moon? Is that realistic? No, they have to be achievable. Realistic is the R, and then they have to be timely or time-based. So you can say, I want to reach this goal by this week or next year. Like Darius said, we broke it down from week to month to year, and we definitely want to make sure that we have those checkpoints for our goals. So very important. We constantly work on goals around here, constantly, because we have to be progressing and moving forward. Again, these are the skills that your kids learn whenever they are in entrepreneurship. And these are the skills that are enhanced, and you can encourage them, and you can do things such as we described with goal setting at home. With all of these skills, you can do it at home to enhance those, for your little ones. Number 3 we're talking about is helping your child learn difficult subject matter. So all of the skills that we talked about, everything that we mentioned, learning a difficult subject like algebra, my son's in algebra 1, he was, or even another language, it'll be easier for them because they're resilient. They're ready to tackle those tough things. They're willing to use all those skills that they've been enhancing while going through the entrepreneurship. They're using all those skills to help them tackle these difficult subject matters. So they'll just be more efficient at studying, at problem solving, and, they'll just be determined to get the correct answer on their own with all those skills we just talked about. That's another thing I love about teaching kids entrepreneurship. You're not afraid to tackle something and figure it out. And that includes the difficult subjects. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would
Definitely. You have anything you want to add about learning difficult subject matters? Anything that has helped you conquer something that you weren't the best at?
Taking a lot of notes definitely helped me. And then just organizing the notes and making it so it's easy for you to understand, not for anybody else.
Right. Oh, absolutely. That's a good tip, Darius. I will say that my son Darius is an excellent note taker. Excellent note taker. So, last but not least, They'll gain a better understanding of how to make money. I mean, that's what we're talking about here, right? Entrepreneurship, how to make money. So remember when your child was little, or when you're trying to teach them about money, the first thing that we do is we talk about piggy banks and how to save your money. But you just don't want to teach them how to earn money. You really want them to learn how to provide value to people. Because when you provide that value, when we talked about solving a problem and adding that value, then in return, you're going to get money. You're going to get value. So you have to solve those problems. And mediocre entrepreneurs, right? They do what they should be doing in order to get paid. But successful entrepreneurs are going to add value, right? Going to add value. And that's key. Understanding what people need and how to add the value to their life. So we need more entrepreneurs in this world. We definitely do. And this is the reason why I started the Junior Legacy and the Junior Legacy Academy. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show a little clip about that. Yay! Our screen is really fuzzy today. We're sorry. We're sorry about this fuzzy screen. We definitely tried to work it out, but yes, I look forward to sharing more about the Junior Legacy Academy. There's in the virtual classes as well as the in-person classes. Anything else you want to share today? I hope that us talking about those entrepreneurial skills, whether your child wants to be an entrepreneur or not, is helpful. And I encourage you to enhance those with your children at home. Anything you want to add today before we go serious? I really appreciate you and thank you for being my host today, guest host. Anything you want to share today before we go with our audience?
Yes. I just want to say that my grandpa, he teaches me most of these skills, life skills that I don't learn in school.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be how to be an entrepreneur, but he teaches me more about how to be successful in life and make money. And the main thing he tried to tell me is that money is the key to life, and that
those things he teaches you just helps you to be great in some of the things that we talked about today, right?
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Darius, his grandfather, for instilling those things in him so that he could be successful. We will see you next Saturday at 6 p.m. and we will talk about some other things that your kid doesn't learn in school. Bye.
Bye.
You build me a legacy, cause I want a legacy. It sounds too young to get getting old, but I tell her, whoa. I got them goals, I'm starting now, I got places to go. I really don't care what these haters be thinking. I put that money in the bank, let it grow up a pile. Better head up to the clouds. I just wanna be different. Teenager with a vision, already on a mission. Ain't no time for the quit. They don't think I be listening, but the rats got my attention. Legacy keys in my top 10. Watch you spin a block and get locked in. Build me a legacy, yeah, I want a legacy. Build me a legacy, yeah, I want a legacy.